Hi, Claire here. I'm going to talk about how I know sugar is addictive as a pastry chef. So first, what does being a pastry chef means? It means concocting various ingredients together to make a very fancy pastry. It has always been the role of pastry chef and also my responsibility ever since I stepped into the world of pastry. The main role of the pastry chef is to make sure that the presentation of a pastry is attractive, especially visually as well as its taste. Sometimes the smell as well. The outlook is very important and it has to attract the customer's attention because when it's good, the customers will tend to buy it. So a little bit about my background. What motivates me to create and learn pastry? I used to work in an office job from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily for 5 days a week. However, I find it monotonous and decided to venture out into another passion of mine, which is pastry and baking. I find that sharing my creations makes my loved one happy and also makes me happy as well. Therefore, I took up a course that taught pastry and baking in a private school, and they taught this course for 1 year. It was an intensive classes that goes by 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily for 5 days a week. And I have to attend the classes in the morning, and they will teach like maybe 2 types of pastry in the morning and then 1 or 2 types of pastry in the afternoon. Sometimes there will be lecture as well. So after a challenging 3 months in the kitchen and classroom, I get to go to internship in a formal production kitchen and cafes where they sell pastry stuff or they distribute into their cafes or shops, and then the customers will buy it or order it. So that's a little bit about me. So what are the differences between working in a kitchen and working in an office? Working in a kitchen, you have to stand for long hours and you have to do a lot of mixing and blending by hand, and then you have to cook it or bake it or let it cool down, which is whatever is required of the pastry. And you have to do a lot of physical work. You have to make sure everything starts out well, like the ingredients is all there, and then when it's done you have to make sure the kitchen is clean and everything is clean. The bowl, the mixing tool, the equipment has to be clean and maintained and handled well. So it requires a lot of stamina and physical work, and every time a pastry is made, there will be mess on everywhere or on the table. So the role of a pastry chef is also to keep everything keep and clean as you go. And at the same time, you have to make sure that the pastry comes out well. Working in an office, you have to sit down and then do everything digitally. And this is what is needed, doing the coordinating and editing digitally. And that will mean facing the computer for long hours and sitting down for long hours. So they'll say stretching is very important when working in an office. So what leads me to realize that sugar is addictive? Because every time I go to create a pastry, I have to taste the pastry to make sure that it comes out well, like the crunch is there or the softness is there, and also the moisture is there. So I'll have to make sure that the correct ingredients are used, correct amount of sugar, flour, baking powder and what is being caught by the recipe. So every time I make the pastry, I have to taste it to make sure, okay, it's the right amount and it's the right taste. And this is especially important when I work in a kitchen, in a production kitchen or in a cafe, because they ask for consistency in every pastry. So I have to make and taste every batches of the pastry that I've made, and I will to make sure that consistency is there, the taste is there, the moisture is there. So sugar plays an important part in the pastry. And every time I eat it, well, some people may not be aware, but some of them will be aware that sugar is in that pastry. So in the school, some of the chefs, they used to just taste like one bite instead of the whole thing, because they know that there are a lot of sugar, and also there are a lot of ingredients in there, like maybe butter, which can be fattening if eaten in big amount. And for the chef, they have to taste the pastry of every student's creation, and that means tasting all of them and maybe a few batches of the student's creation. So it can be challenging for them because they have to taste it and they have to tell the students, or it's their duty to teach them what are the ingredients there, and then how much amount is correct for them to create it. So that's part of their job, and that is also the risk that comes with it, because they have to try out all the pastry and the sugar in it is in a big amount. So what leads me to realize that sugar is addictive as a pastry chef? So as I tried on and taste all the pastry that I've made throughout my life as a pastry chef working in a kitchen, and also during my school years as well, I get to taste all the pastry to know what the pastry tastes like and how different types of pastry and methods of doing the pastry will taste like. And I have to know what ingredients goes in there and how it will affect one another to create a pastry, and also how much amount of sugar is in there. So every time I make it, I will taste it, and then I need to know the differences. So in my school and also during my work, I have to taste it, and then if it's good, then it's good to go, and we can sell it to the customers. We can distribute to all the other shops, and also customers can order it for their own consumption. So it is very important job of a pastry chef to execute this process. This lead me to realize that I've been tasting a lot of pastry and a lot of sugar are in there. Other than during work, I also do my own baking at home, and I do like trial and error so that I know how to make or improve on a recipe. I tasted a lot of the pastry, and then I sometimes sell it online. Other than pastry, I also have my daily meals, my daily beverages like tea. And tea, I know that usually they have sugar in it unless you order no sugar, but I don't really know how much sugar is in there. So one time I noticed that they actually added like 2 to 3 spoons of sugar in a tea. So that means every time when I have my meal and my cup of beverages, I be having like more than 2 or 3 teaspoons of sugar, and that is considered quite a lot, because if you do your own research, you'll know that we actually don't need that much sugar from day to day. So it led me to realize, okay, I've been having a lot of sugar from in a day-to-day basis, and other than that, the effect sugar have in our body. So it gradually leads me to realize that, okay, I'm having quite a big amount of sugar. Okay, maybe it was normal for me, but then gradually it increases throughout the day, or like at a later months of my life, because when I have sugary food or drink, the blood sugar level will spike up, and then it will give me a heightened mood. So usually when you have like a sugar rush, you'll have a heightened mood mentally, and also you'll feel happy because it actually release dopamine, and then you'll feel happy. It will be like a mood boost. So when you have that, and then it will last for 2 hours before it goes back to normal, to its like pre-sugary state. And when that happens, you'll feel a little bit sad, or a little bit not in a good mood. So you tend to crave for more sugar, or that is what the body wants, like more sugar to maintain that level of blood sugar level in your body, so that you'll maintain that happy state or heightened state. It's a little bit like caffeine, having caffeine, and then it will bring you to a heightened state. So when that happens, when you crave for more sugar, you will eat it, and then whenever you feel a bit down, you eat sugary stuff, it will bring your blood sugar level higher. When it happens often enough, you will think that, okay, that's your normal state of being. That's your normal blood sugar level. That's your normal mood. When the body is used to that heightened state, it will think that it's normal. It will depend on the sugar for the energy. So when you don't have that amount of sugar in your body, the body will feel down, and then you will tend to eat more to compensate. So you may be taking more sugar than you realize, and this has been what leads me to realize that, okay, sugar can actually be addictive. So what I'm saying is that like everyone has to be aware and conscious of what they eat or drink, and they have to know like what goes into their body, because it really play a big part, and we really don't want to be like taking more than we need, or else it will be too late. Natural sugar, like the sugar from the fruits, is good for us, and we'll need to look into the health benefits of fruits, so that we can keep our body in a healthy state. So yeah, I think that's all for today, and this is my first podcast. Thank you very much.